Welcome back or welcome to I Ain't Got a Talent, where we talk about gifts and talents. Today I have with me Caleb Gordon-Kilgore. Please show him some love. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
To the show, man. Thank you.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Let's get into it then. This is my first question for you.
All right.
What was the first thing that you wanted to be when you was a kid? What's the first thing you could remember?
The first thing I seriously wanted to do was, I think draw and or make. Hold on. Okay, draw, but transition into making like a cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
Me and my cousin CJ, we had a character called Yori Mang, which was like a not so subtle ripoff of Naruto. You know, it like if I could, I don't have any pictures, but if I just show you, like it was Naruto with green hair. That was yeah. So I mean, like yeah, I mean, it's still kind of a dream. Like once I make my movies, I still want to go back and make an animated show
Nice.
because I love anime and love animation. So, but that was the pinnacle for me was making my own show.
Okay, yeah. Now you said the animated part. Did y'all do the pages where you were like flipping them and it was like moving?
Well, no, we mostly just made like mini comic books,
Oh, yeah.
and we got like a flash animating software, but it was so complicated, and it wasn't like I wasn't willing to learn how to do it, but it was like for me, I found out what was more exciting was creating the story rather than doing the actual animation and coming up with the character designs
Yeah.
rather than actually doing the animation. Because the animation, like you have to have a different level of dedication to the art of animation because it's so laborious, man, from my perspective. And I wouldn't be able to do it, but I know there's a bunch of brilliant animators.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Right.
And like that, it's like I don't know how they do it, man, but I'm glad they do.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's how I learned. Like I'm more of a story type person rather than animation and all that kind of stuff that transitioned into filmmaking.
Yeah. That's cool too. And it's also cool that you did it with your cousin. Both of y'all were into it. That's one way, where our family members, we find out if we like doing something or not. I know someone else told me they did a comic book with their friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And also, I would say not a lot of people are doing that at a young age, though. They're not like collaborating with cousins and friends. So that's actually big, man.
Yeah. I mean, I got lucky with the cousins that I grew up with. A lot of them, they were interested in art. So, and I went to like an art middle school and we didn't have any sports. So all of it was art.
Wow.
So I think I got really lucky with the parents that I had and the family that I had.
Yeah.
It steered me in a certain direction.
Yeah. So let's talk about your gift, your talent. What's one of your gifts or talents?
Well, I say this as humbly as possible. I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm a filmmaker. But, well, okay. My biggest talent is just understanding feelings, having empathy, and listening and understanding somebody outside of my own body, understanding others.
Yeah.
And so the way that is expressed is through film and specifically directing. We have to work with actors and emotions. And yeah, and that's my talent is dealing with people on an emotional level.
Mm.
And that translates within directing because you have to deal with not only the actors, but also like 20 other different departments as well, different personalities.
Wow.
And, yeah, and also writing, just understanding the human experience. I'm still on my journey personally, and I'm still growing, and I'll never stop learning. But that's really the core of it is just learning the human experience and learning how to translate that into script format and then into a movie. I would say that's my biggest talent is understanding.
It sounds like you have that passion to write, direct, and then you couple it with this talent of dealing with people on an emotional level. I don't think people really understand. Like, if you can deal with people, that's really a gift. If you can talk to people, if you like understand people emotionally, if you understand people mentally, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talked about when you were younger and you and your cousin made this character, you put a comic book together. How old were you when you did that?
I don't know, man. Maybe like 11 or 12, maybe.
11 to 12. Wow.
Yeah. Like, if you want an exact number, whenever Naruto started airing on Toonami in the mid 2000s, that's when we started.
Okay. Okay.
Because Naruto just blew our minds. It blew our minds, man. It was like, Japanese animation is nothing like, especially back then, like it was nothing like we had ever seen before. It was so visceral and it was so real, like it was a grit to it that was unlike American animation.
Got you.
There was a fluidity in it, like the art was so different and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Then a lot of American animation nowadays, they utilize Japanese techniques or
Yeah.
things like that. Say like Avatar, very anime inspired. But back in the day, nobody was doing it like Japan, man. So I think I was 11 or 12 or 13.
Okay. Okay. And I know you mentioned before, like that's when you realized I want to do more of the writing part, or I like more of the writing part. But is that when you really first noticed that, oh, I have this gift to write?
Yeah, when the stories just came out of me, and I felt a need to write it down, no matter how terrible it was, how almost every single word was spelled wrong in a bizarre way, just in ways you couldn't imagine how badly this word is spelled. But it just wanted to come out, regardless of my talent for it at the time, and just me being able to come up with the next thing, come up with, character arcs and something deeper. And really, I think that's the thing. What was interesting was exploring a character's inner life and something that attached them to reality, something that was a little bit deeper than surface level, and understanding somebody's background. And that was the fun part for me, coming up with somebody's backstory, with who they really are, the character art, what they want, almost even more than just coming up with like the fun part, which is just abilities, what they can do. For
Right.
me, it was more about like the character and who they actually were, and then how what they can do translated through who they were.
Yeah.
Uh, and that became that was more fun for me, exploring like a deeper aspect of a person or a character.
Yeah. That's big, man. I don't think a lot of people can do that. I think about Marvel, all those characters, the backstory, and you know what I mean? And that's what it reminds me of when you say that. It takes some skill. Can you talk about what has been your process just starting to now? What has gotten you to where you are now? Describe that a little bit. If you went to school, some training you might have had. How did you get to where you are now?
But a big part of it is having a support system, like how my parents were. They're very encouraging, and they instilled a certain type of work ethic, and even bigger, a belief in oneself. That's the biggest thing, because you can't really go anywhere and really expect anything without a belief in oneself, and a just an acceptance that if this is something that you want to do, no matter how hard it becomes, or if you don't see the ending in sight ever, Um, just a just a realization that an acceptance that you're just never gonna stop, no matter what.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be doing this to the very end, you know? And so that was I think that's the baseline for everything. And started off in a school that had no sports, all art. And so that primed me for once I graduated high school, went to a film school,
Oh,
Compass College in Grand Rapids.
yeah.
And really, film school is really, you're learning the fundamentals and you're building connections, especially the people that come up with you.
Okay.
And all these people that are in school with you, once you graduate, this will be your film support system.
Mm.
Like they're going to be the people that are helping you out, making your stuff in the future and recommending you and teaching you how to make connections. So then after high school, during my formative years is I was discovering what I wanted to do in film. A big part of my journey was when you commissioned me to shoot and edit your video because that was really one of the first things that I was really using Premiere for and actually like working the software, learning how to use it,
Yeah.
and then also working for another artist and learning, how to sync video to audio,
Right.
how
Right.
to use nonlinear editing.
Yeah.
And, and that it it was something once you start actually getting your hands on the software and using it, your mind starts growing and you start learning and you start visualizing the possibilities. And so being able to work on something like your project, God did write that, throw that book right back.
That was super fun. That was my
That was a hit. That was a hit. So yeah, being able to just keep on working and refining my gifts. And that's what really transitioned me into college. And I think I even put when I'm applying for like a film school, they asked for some of your work. And I think that video was something that I put inside the collage.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it helped me out to get into school as well. So
And you did a good job on that too. Was that your first video?
that was my first video that was the very first video, not knowing
Man.
that much.
Yeah.
Just knowing I've watched videos, that's all I knew. So I was just trying to do that.
Yeah. You did great. That video still looks good.
Yeah. I
Sounds.
mean, like it wasn't the best camera, it wasn't the like, but and I was still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was an important step along my journey as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks for sharing that.
And I would say after I graduated high school and I moved to Georgia because this is where all the film stuff is. First of all, like I was the only person in my family really doing film. I came down to Georgia. I have family here, but I didn't know anybody in the industry. So it was extremely difficult to make friends or break into the industry. So I did like, background work. I was an extra in a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. And from there, I just, I met people behind the scenes. And while I was doing that, because it was taking forever, it was like it got really sad at one point. I was like, why I'm in Georgia? Like all my film people are in Michigan,
Yeah.
even though nothing's going on in Michigan. At least I know somebody in Michigan. And and I wasn't really I was working as a backgrounder, but I wasn't really getting on set behind the scenes actually working on the movies
Okay.
that like I wanted. So, but just having the baseline, just belief in yourself, and you just keep on going, no matter how sad you get, no matter how many dark days when you just in your apartment by yourself crying. You're like, did I make a huge mistake?
Yeah.
Still, you still do it.
Right.
Uh, and so while that was happening, I kept on researching and buying books on writing and directing, and some on acting and filmmaking in general, and just studying and making like here, wait, look, look. These are all the notes that I took while I was on that process, just still not doing what I wanted to do yet.
Yeah.
But in the process, I was reading, constantly taking notes, coming up with ideas, writing things down, and studying books. And this is like all those notes I compiled it in like a big binder. And keep in mind, I wasn't necessarily making a living off of being a background artist. So while I was doing that, I was working a regular job.
Yeah.
I was working at like a warehouse. And every break, or even like if I had 15 seconds, oh not 15 seconds, 15 minutes to just write something down or read something, that's what I would do. And every break I'll be in the break room eating my lunch, and I'll be coming up, well not coming up, we'll be studying books that I buy.
Yeah.
And this is all that. This is all my notes, everything that I studied, and I will constantly like refer to this if I need some type of guidance for something specific.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the journey, and I'm still on my journey, like to get to my ultimate journey. I've gotten to a certain level, but there's another level that I want to get to.
Right. Right.
But
Continually growing.
my yeah, my journey's been just like, you know, doing what I can, and then studying as much as I can, and constantly learning how to speak a certain type of language when I speak to professionals, you know. And
Yeah.
so when I'm doing what I actually want to do, you know, you speak the same language and I know what I'm talking about.
It-
That's the biggest thing. So eventually I was able to get on set. Like I met somebody behind the scenes. I was actually able to become like just a base regular day player production assistant. And, you know, just getting coffee and you know, most of the job is getting yelled at. And even today, it's still getting yelled at, but that's the industry. And, you know, I'm going to change it a little bit on my sets when I'm running it, but doing things for people on set, doing lockups, grabbing food for people, all that, just doing what you can to help out the set. And I did that for a few years. And eventually I was able to become a background production assistant, which is what I am today.
Okay.
And I'm the production assistant who's over all the backgrounders, all the extras.
Wow.
So the movie that I was on before, you know, the writer strike and the actor strike shut everything down. It's a pretty big movie, and there there was a couple weeks where we had like 200 plus people. So
Wow.
or yeah, 200 plus people, and it's that's where the empathy and understanding side of myself really comes into play, because you're dealing with so many people at the same time, and
Yeah.
then trying to get them through hair, wardrobe, and makeup, getting them food and getting them to set. Sometimes set is inside like this huge warehouse, and they're on the complete opposite side. And so coordinating with 3, 4 different departments. Oh, also getting them propped up, getting their props. So
Yeah.
and also dealing with all their interpersonal personal issues that happen in their own lives, and then they're bringing that to set. Yeah, you know, that's been my journey. And then right now, while I'm BGPAing, at the same time, I'm still working behind the scenes on my own films. I shot one film, and that's in festivals right now, and it's doing okay. And I'm working on my second one right now.
Okay.
That and it's about now I'm trying to branch out and get more connections and have people see me as a serious filmmaker, as a director, as a writer, and as an editor. Still, like whatever stage I'm at, I'm still working to get to another stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man. And as you talking, I'm inspired, man. Even though it got tough for you, you're like, man, did I make the right choice? Maybe, but you like, okay, when I get a break, I'm about to go write, take some notes. I'm about to read this book. Yeah, that's inspiring. So, I think you kind of touched on them a little bit, but you talked about some of the challenges you had. What are some of the lessons you've learned so far in pursuing your dreams? What are some of the lessons you learned?
I would say a big lesson is that nobody's and all this is still facilitated through God as well. I do believe that everything's happened exactly the way it's supposed to through God, and some things are tests. But anyway, I think a big lesson is
When I heard you talking, man, that to me, one thing that stood out is like your tenacity to keep going. Like you
yeah,
said,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Like nobody's going to keep checking up with you and telling you, "Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do this." It's something you have to conjure a type of a will
yeah,
within yourself and realize you're not going to reap the benefits of this till like years down the line. And you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and be okay with a certain type of suffering. You
okay,
know, it's like it's always it's gonna be uncomfortable if you have a dream and you're determined and you're serious and you want to do a certain thing, and that certain thing might be a little bit impossible. You're gonna have to be a little bit like you have to almost be in love with being uncomfortable because you got to get in the mindset like you're never gonna see any results that you really want to see until years down the line until you've worked so hard like where your blood is boiling, your bones are breaking, but you still your heart is just gone, it's broken, but you still have to keep going
mm,
and just being comfortable with feeling like that because that's the part where people kind of give up
yeah,
because it's a different type of pain. It's endurance,
mm,
and you have to keep on pushing yourself and just really just moving your body towards your goal. Like even if your heart isn't in it, move your body to get to that point. And nobody's there's no help. And not saying like family's always there.
yeah,
And I'm saying more you on your personal journey and your personal goals. You can't expect somebody to constantly be telling you, "Oh, you got to do this today. Now this today. Now this today. Now this today." It's you have to conjure that will and that grit
yeah,
from yourself. You got to conjure it from nothing,
yeah,
from vapor, and push yourself to get somewhere. Not saying that wherever you get to, not saying that you've done everything yourself, because that's not true.
yeah,
Because everybody in your life, good lesson or bad, it's still a lesson. And I still have an amazing family and they help me out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to sustain a dream,
hmm,
it's something that you have to conjure from your heart and there's no help, you know what I mean?
you,
Yeah,
you gotta do it. You gotta do it yourself, pretty much.
just to have belief and just keep moving. That's
Mm,
something that you have to do yourself. And, but I still have an amazing support system.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they can't make you go to work.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They can't get you up.
Yeah,
Like your mama can't start playing music. You know, did your mama ever do that? Like she start playing music, wake you up to go to school?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Your
Right.
mama can't do that for now. You know what I'm saying? She can be there for you in different ways,
Yeah,
but willpower is something you have to conjure from the ether. Go. You gotta get it, man. Like that's the biggest I would say that's the biggest lesson.
that's what's up. That's what's up. You mentioned working on some of your own stuff. What are some projects you've worked on so far?
Like my projects or like the big
Yeah,
projects.
any project, yours and mainstream, if you want to call it that. Yeah, any
I
whatever
don't know, man.
you want to talk about.
I don't got my MDB up. Worked on a few like a few Marvel things. Tyrone, I was on that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was recently on Bad Boys 4, but you know that got shut down because of the strikes. Cinnamon, that's on Tubi. Yeah, Bruiser, Hulu. Yeah, I mean, I have to pull up my IMDb. I don't remember everything.
About your projects.
Yeah, so I have a project, a short film in festivals right now called We Live.
Okay.
It's about three young Black Americans who hold up in a relative's home after a George Floyd protest turns into a riot.
Mm,
And all three of them have three separate ideologies on blackness. So one is pro peaceful protest, one is pro riots, and the other one is a black Republican. Even though there's more, that's just three at the time that I really saw that were really standing out to me. And it's about them, like their ideologies come to a head and it threatens to tear their family apart.
Mhm.
And really, when you watch it, really at the end, it's really about just accepting that blackness isn't a monolith, and there's certainly different ideas within the community, and not to look at each other like, especially on the outside, anybody on the outside looking at our race, not to see us all exactly the same, paint us with a broad paint stroke,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
there's nuance and different cultures and different ideas. And then within our culture, it's important that we don't break apart because of those differences.
yeah.
That irregardless, we still have the same struggle, still on the same path. We want the same thing. Yeah, just doing all right in festivals right now. And just right now, while that's in festivals, I'm working on my next thing.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. I know you talked a little bit about, your parents being a part of your growth, and they should be, right? Because parents they're like the first people they spend a lot of time with us. They're most likely the first people to know what our gifts are, what our talents are, to point us in a direction of our dreams. Talk a little bit about that and how your parents helped you.
So a big help was, for example, my mother, and I think you will remember this. She made us. You remember Triple K?
Oh yeah.
Which in for the audience, it last name is Kilgore. Okay, so and there were three of us, and Kilgore, and nothing else. It's Triple K. It's nothing not affiliated with any other organization. All
Yeah.
right, so
Right. Not KKK, triple
uh,
K.
which was we. It never changed. We talked about it. It just never changed. But anyway, her just being at the house, and then even coming up with the idea to have us dance, and then not just simply have music and us dance, but it was us rehearsing over and over and over again, and in that instilled just not settling. If you have a vision, doing everything you can to make sure that whatever your vision is, that you get as close as possible to that vision.
Okay.
And that means not being lazy, not giving up. That means practicing over and over and over again until you see your body change and you see your mind change as well, until you see you actually achieving what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that I think that was a huge lesson from my mother. That was important. Not necessarily perfectionism, but a belief in your talents and you taking your talents seriously. And so that means that you practice over and over and over again because you take it seriously,
Yeah, yeah.
no matter how much it hurts. And you keep on doing it until you get it because you take what you believe in seriously. And everything doesn't have to be perfect, but keep going.
Yeah. Right.
And then I'll say a lesson from my father. He would always, when I was really little, he would always say that he wouldn't refer to me as like a boy. He would say, regardless of my age, he would say that you are a man and you have responsibility and a lot of things you're not going to have help for. And not necessarily because I'm a man. He said, he's just telling me that starting now, you need to have a responsibility, a self accountability, and you have to have something in you to push you. Because, like I said earlier, there's no cavalry. You have to help yourself. You have to move. You have to get it done. And so he instilled the fire and the will, um, in the acknowledgement of oneself, that you are here and you're present, and whatever you want to do is valid. And you have to do what you need to do. If you want to do it,
Yeah.
you got to do what you need to do, and nobody's going to help you. And you have to summon that will from yourself. And you're a man, son. And I think that was important in my formative years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So in those two lessons combined, I think created my psychology, and that's the importance of a family, man. And then also just my family just being so talented. Like, my grandfather and my cousins. And also, we lived in Muskegon Heights, right?
Yeah.
But we went to a school in Harrisburg, Grand Haven. Is it in Grand Haven? Anyway, that middle school when we were little, like I was saying, it was almost all art school.
Right.
So they took us out of a certain environment. Not saying that the Heights is a terrible place, because it's not.
Right.
It's not. But just putting us in a place where art was at the forefront, and art is really just a reflection of humanity. It's like what's going to be left over when all this is gone is our art. They brought us into that environment, and
Oh.
it opened our minds, me and my sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like the forethought to put us in that environment, and then also the lessons that they taught us along the way.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. So for people who want to follow you, how can they follow you on social media?
Oh man. Oh man. You can follow me. I gotta remember my social media. I mean, face. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. Well, I'm Caleb Gordon-Kilgore on Facebook. You can do that. I don't know. Look at it. So Instagram is Caleb_Gordon-Kilgore. Everything lowercase.
Okay. All right. Cool. Man, it's been a pleasure, man, to have you on.
Yeah, man.
Talk to you, man. Get to know more about you. Get to hear your process so far and your perspective. And I appreciate you being on.
I appreciate you. Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, I'm digging it, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you. All right. I ain't got a talent. Peace.
Peace.